Today I will be doing my first speech as an icebreaker, but I'm a visual person, so rather than tell you about myself, I'm going to show you. Sandy? Okay. So that, if you didn't know, is belly dance. Most specifically, American style belly dance, also known as ATS. ATS was created in the 1980s by Carolina Noriko Bowman as a way of infusing traditional belly dance with different styles such as Eastern, tribal, and also more Latin styles like flamenco, especially in the uplifted body posture, the strong arms, and also floreos. I walked into my first ATS class in 2012 after I found a Groupon deal, and that was the best impulse buy ever. I earned my certification in general skills a few years later, taught by Carolina herself, and I joined several dance troupes, and I've been performing ever since. Now I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Growing up, I was a very shy and awkward child. Some might even say capricious. And I was overweight, had thick bottle cap glasses, braces, the whole works. And because I was a child of the 80s and 90s, my mom had an unfortunate habit of dressing me in spandex and sequins. So imagine that, if you will, for a moment. Needless to say, I wasn't the most popular kid at school. From kindergarten to high school, I could count the number of friends I had on one hand. There are a few friends that I'm still friends with to this day, but for the most part, I was alone. In addition to my loneliness, I was also teased and bullied, a combination that manifested into an eating disorder and severe depression by the time I was 11. It's something that I've had to struggle with ever since. My mom did her best. She took me to the mall and we did the full makeover, contacts, makeup, clothes, and everything. And I'll never forget, on January 1st, 2000, also known as Y2K, when the world was supposed to end, we went to the abandoned mall and got our ears pierced. She pushed me to join groups and try new things, whether I wanted to or not, including band, the Girl Scouts, art lessons, softball, volleyball, and dance. I took dance lessons in jazz and ballet when I was about 10. I was so bad at it that after my first recital, my mom told me afterwards that I didn't have to dance anymore, and that was a huge relief. I still have the VHS tape at home where one of the older students physically had to push me out on stage. September 3rd, 2004, my mom passed away from complications due to Crohn's disease. A year later, my grandma, who was also like a second mom to me, passed away. I was only 18 at the time. My weight and depression spiraled out of control, so I decided to move to Florida in hopes of a new start. That only lasted a year before I hightailed it back to Colorado, and I plan to stay here until the rest of my days. My best friend, one from high school, who's actually taking me out to dinner tonight, and her family set me up with a new house, car, and job after I moved back. Despite having my fresh start, my depression was worse than ever, and I couldn't bear the thought of living anymore. In 2010, I was involved in a car accident that should have killed me. It was at night after my friend Sonia, the one that you're hearing so much about, and I went out for ice cream. On my way back home, a car hit me in the side, pushed me over the median and into 3 lanes of oncoming traffic. Thankfully, I was able to get back on the right side of the road and pull over. Both me and the car were a little dented and bruised, but we made it through. I realized then that I wanted to keep on living, but I knew I would have to make some changes. I joined a gym, started eating right, and learned how to speak kindly to myself, which is a harder skill to master than you might think. After I discovered dance again, an activity I'd written off for years because of how thoroughly and publicly I failed at it the first time, I finally began to see the person I was meant to be beneath the shy, introverted shell, and I actually really like her. Through dance and diet, I lost around 100 pounds, gained not only more friends than I can count, unless you count Facebook statistics, but a tribe of wonderful women who will love and support me unconditionally. A few years ago, a couple of friends and I went to the Renaissance Festival. The second their backs were turned, I ran up on stage and crashed the belly dance competition. I won 3rd place. Not only have I gained a love for belly dance, but I branched out and learned Zumba, hip hop, Celtic dance, ballroom, line dance, and I also choreograph and teach my own routines now. Just for fun last month, I went to another jazz and ballet class, just to see if I developed a knack for the styles after all these years of training and experience. I'm pleased to announce that I'm just as terrible at them as I ever was. Thank you.